So about 10 years ago, I was approached to become an online teacher. And so as part of that request, training was made available to me through Michigan Virtual University. So I went to Lansing for a one-day kind of face-to-face training, and then the rest was done in about a 6-week totally online course. It's kind of what got me started. And then over time, I've just been taking courses here or there related to online. I think the probably the biggest course or the longest course that I took was actually last year. The Michigan Virtual also offered like a year-long mastery online course, which was a set of 3 courses that was done over about 6 months, and that was a pretty intense course that looked a lot at what the universal design for learning topics, as well as some of the philosophies behind online, and we did like virtual presentations and so forth. And so I think Suzette Jaquette was one of the people that really started the Ann Arbor online program about it. So she kind of approached me about it, and I think what drew her towards me, or I attracted, was like my use of technology in the classroom. I'm always looking at uses of technology to help students and differentiate instruction, and so I think that's what kind of connected the two of us together. Definitely everything started out of summer school. So it was her idea that we would offer online courses in the summer, and then over time that evolved into offering them doing during the school year, and then also led to me being exposed to certain tools like the ALEX program, and so I ended up using those in the classroom as well as part of my online courses. So for the online courses, we use the program called ALEX, which is a web-based program, and then we also have an online classroom on the Moodle, and that's generally where students get access to the organization of the class and to like additional resources, because most of the work is done on the ALEX program. So our classroom doesn't have a lot of lessons or content in it, just basically additional resources. Moodle is very linear in the fact like how it's organized. So things are organized by chapter, just like they would be in a textbook. So if a student wanted access to resources, I could always refer to them, that chapter in the book, and so they would have an idea of where to go. Because that's, I think, one of the biggest challenges is getting students multiple avenues to different resources to help them learn the material. Right. So in the ALEX program, there's a link to an explain. So there's written explanations that are there, kind of samples and some of the theory and steps behind how to do that specific type of math problem. And then if those don't make sense, then I refer kids to the online resources. Like the textbook has videos that are built in, or might have links to extra practice, or like Khan Academy stuff, another like source of information just presented in a different way. So the best part of the job is flexibility. It affords me the opportunity to not be stuck to the 750 to even 725, I think now at your building, the 720 schedule. And so the flexibility is amazing. Also, being able to work with students one-on-one. So I don't do large group lessons. I meet with small groups of students, and it's targeted towards what they need to work on. The least favorite part is that it's always on. Like it's taken me a while to figure out ways to have times to turn it off, because you can always be doing it, and always, like, the internet is always there, your class is always there. Yeah, you can make it whatever you need it to be. I generally try to do like a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 4. I try to stick to that for my sanity. Well, I mean, some of the rewards is in the middle of the day, I can go on a field trip with my boys to wherever their class is going. Or I have the flexibility to go to meetings and not have to worry about making sub plans. I don't have to worry about behavior. When I come back after being out for 2 or 3 days, I don't have to worry about dealing with issues that may have came up while the sub was gone. And I also don't have to worry about like being behind in my content, like because those days are days where students are still learning, right? If they're in the online or blended environment, you can go through and post the assignments, and kids can go through and still do them. So you're not like missing out on those types of things. The challenges is it takes a lot of time to design those lessons. It's not, yeah, it's not like I can just like take a worksheet and post it on a website and say, okay, do this. You need to be able to, the kids need to be able to learn how to do the material in advance. So you have to find those resources or find ways that they can learn the material. I've tried using try to do videos. I've even used like Skype to like kind of hold virtual office hours. And so I have they call it a bamboo tablet, and so I can screen share, and then we can video conference, and then I can show them how to work out a problem, kind of like in this scenario, but I just am able to write on my computer, and then they can view that. I don't really have a home office kind of set up. I saw this question earlier and was thinking, that might be a good idea for me to go through and do, because you need to have a set space in which you're going to work from so that you can help to differentiate when you're working on it and when you're not. Uh, yeah, exactly. I'm at home, I'm not working. You need like a separate space in your home where you are working. You're in that space. So I don't really have a separate, at this point, I don't have a separate space because I try not to do a ton of work at home, but I just use a kitchen table or something like that if I'm working from home. So the hard thing is that you don't know how long things are going to take. So like I always start, since I'm doing this kind of full time, I always start my day by checking email and like responding to students. So it's kind of hard to set your day because you need to do those things to start off your day. And so depending on the day, you may have, 20 emails that you need to respond to, or there could only be 3. And so then you kind of go from there. But I definitely make sure I communicate with kids first, because a lot of times they're stuck and waiting for you to respond, and so they're not moving forward. And I don't want to be the person that like stops them from moving forward in their course. So I always deal with those things first, and then deal with like lesson design and things like that. A lot of times in an online course, the course is already designed for you, so you don't have to create the lessons per se. You're just assessing and helping kids with the material. So if I can prevent them from stopping for whatever reason, if they're stuck on a topic, if there's a button that's not working right or a link, I want to be able to get to those first. I think one of the most important things that I did is with my cell phone is I stopped my cell phone from like notifying me every time I got a new email. Because I could be constantly on my phone going, oh, what's this email? It's a constant reminder when it dings or whatever it does. Each time you get an email, it's a reminder, oh, there's something in my inbox. There's something in my inbox. So I totally turned that completely off because, again, when I'm working, and I get into my email, I get into my courses. That's when I work. Helps to differentiate. So a majority of your day is sharing information or guiding kids through activities, right? So the same thing happens in an online class, is that the activity is kind of created for you, but you have to go through and assess students as they work through it. So like when you ask a question in your class, does everyone understand y equals x squared looks like a parabola, when you pose that question? Well, in your class, you can just, kind of gauge by looking at the class who gets it, who doesn't, or based on who responds. In an online course, everyone responds, right? And so you have to go through each of those individual responses and either give them feedback or somehow assess them based on that. So you get a lot more information via the internet or via your computer than you do like in front of a classroom. So you have to process through all of that information. And so it takes more time when you're getting a response from everyone, and then you're somehow taking that information to give the student feedback. In some course, like in a blended course, that's a little easier because all the kids will be at one spot. So they're all doing maybe the same set of assignments. But when you have an online course, that's not necessarily always the case. Kids are working at their own pace, working in and out. So you may be grading an essay for one kid on, the Revolutionary War, but someone else's, you need to grade their quiz on that same topic. But they submit assignments at different times and are in different places in your course. So a lot of time is spent assessing and then troubleshooting and like helping kids. Like if they don't understand the topic, they're going to send you an email and say, I don't get this. So then you have to think of ways, how am I going to help that kid get it? By not meeting with them. Yeah, without being, I can't go over and like, I always tell the kids at orientation, I'm like, it's not like your class and you can just put this gaze look, or you can like sit there and, just kind of tune out and all the information's still going to come to you. In an online course, you have to work. And you have to be going through the activities in order for that information to get to you. It's just not, you don't have a teacher that's just kind of giving it to you and you're kind of taking it in. You have to go through the resources that the teacher has given you and then work through it. So it seems as though it's easier, but it's actually more involved because of all the components and having students in different spots. The easiest is honestly to meet with students, but that's not always the best way. And so like chatting like this is one of the better ways to do it because you can, see them and get instant feedback from a student. Because if you just put together a video, just kind of like we're doing, you see how you have these questions that kind of come up as you're going, oh, maybe this idea. So like in order to get that dialogue going, you'd have to either start it again or then you get in this bouncing back and forth of emails. Because a lot of times the kid will send me an email and say, oh, I don't understand how to do this. And I'll be like, well, where are you in the class? And first of all, what class are you in? Because I have like 8 different courses running, right? Each one has 2 or 3 kids in it. And then each course has different assignments. So if student emails you this vague description, you're going to have no idea where they are. And then you either have to research and figure out where it is, or you send an email to them, and then you have this like back and forth. And it could take 3 or 4 emails or 2 or 3 days before you actually get to the root of what they're trying to do. So that's why if you can, this is like, it's called synchronous communication, where you're both like interacting at the same time. It's much easier. Just like kind of with this assignment, like it's easier for us to talk this way than to send emails back and forth based on the questions that you have. But I think as the internet has improved, I think this video conferencing is going to be the best way to get that information out. But then if you have if you anticipate a large group of students are going to need help with that one topic, then it's better to do like a video or put a link like on the Moodle, like whatever your learning management system, in our case Moodle, put a link so that everyone can access it. All right, thanks, Joe. Yep, bye.